Hello, everybody, and welcome to the screening room. I'm Green Lantern.
I'm Gertrude.
And I'm Rosie the Riveter.
This week's screening room, we are doing our favorite Halloween movies. I will be starting us off with the movie Hocus Pocus. It was a Disney movie made in about 1993, starring Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, Kathy Najimy, and the voice of Jason Marsden as Binks. Now, the movie starts off, it is the story of three sisters, the Sanderson sisters, and they are in, I believe it's like the 1600s, like right during the Salem witch trials. They're witches. They are caught trying to, basically they are stealing children away, stealing their youth to try and, stay young and everything. They get executed, and then like 300 years later, they get freed by this kid who's trying to make himself look manly in front of the girl he likes, and the witches are resurrected and shenanigans ensue. And one of the victims of the witches, Binks, is actually turned into a cat and is now trying to help the boy, the girl he likes, and the boy's little sister, Danny, defeat the witches and save everyone from being, turned into frogs, enchanted into dancing until they drop and from exhaustion, and, etc. Before I give too much of the details away, let's take a look at the trailer.
Twist the bones and bend the back. Here to decapit a Malika mystic.
Back in 1693, the people of Salem, Massachusetts, witches,
Yes?
thought they got rid of the Sanderson sisters for good.
We shall be back!
300 years later, it's Halloween Eve, and they're back.
We're home!
Are you boys a little old to be trick-or-treating?
You're talking about three ancient hags versus the 20th century. How bad can it be?
Now they're digging up old friends
God, what a stench!
and running amok, looking for the one thing they miss most.
Who stayed for supper?
I'm not hungry.
But we are.
Only one boy has the power to stop them
Prepare to die again!
You have no powers here, you fool!
before all Salem falls under their spell.
Hello, you!
Walt Disney Pictures presents Bette Midler,
Hello?
Sarah Jessica Parker,
Would thou dance with me?
and Kathy Najimy. Hocus Pocus.
Into the night!
They love to fly, and it shows.
Good night. Sleep tight. No screaming.
All right, this is kind of one of my favorite all-time Halloween movies because, the first time I remember actually watching this was, of all places, music class in grade school. I do not know why we watched it in grade school in music class, of all things. Probably just because of the, I'll Put a Spell on You song that Bette Midler and the girls do in the middle of the movie. But it was, some parts of it were genuinely terrifying to me when I was, about, I want to say, it was like 4th grade, so I was pretty young yet. But then I rewatched it. I kept rewatching it after a few years, and it was just genuinely entertaining. I thought it was very funny, and the scary parts weren't as scary now that I'm older, but they still had some moments where just like, well, that's great. So I don't know. I'll just swing it over to you guys. What do you think?
Well, I'd say definitely a classic Halloween movie. Just overall, it has everything. You've got the actresses, you've got the actors, and of course the dance scene with I Put a Spell on You. How can you not like it? Everyone loves a good singing and dancing scene.
And it's Disney. There's always going to be a singing and dancing routine in there somewhere. So
Yeah, just perfect for kids and family movie. It's a great Halloween movie for everyone, I think.
You know what I think is really funny is that even though how old they are, they always look really, really, really young, no matter what. And I think it's so weird that when I was younger, I'd see like black cats around on Halloween, and I go, oh my gosh, I'm gonna talk to that cat because it's a little boy that tried to go against the witches, and little things like that. When you're younger, you don't really think about it, but definitely one of the first Halloween movies I've ever seen, so it's a true classic for me.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just something that always has been very nostalgic, it just kind of makes you think back on all those times when you go out trick or treating. Are you going to see the Sanderson sisters running around trying to collect the rest of you? You're just like, oh no, what do I do?
Exactly. I mean, it's just one of the first movies, you see as a little kid, like a Halloween movie. Just so much in it, and I just love it so much.
I also like how they showed that she was having a vacuum cleaner instead of a broom. It reminded me of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. If you guys ever watched
right.
it.
I love that
I thought that
series.
was so funny because they all had brooms, and she's like, oh, I don't have a broom. I'm going to use this vacuum cleaner. And you're like, oh, it's a cleaning thing. Of course, I can fly with it. So
Right.
does that mean you can fly with a mop, too?
Maybe?
Probably.
Like
Anything's
a
possible.
sweeper?
Or I say, as long as, it's magic, no rules here. So we're going to take a quick break, take a look at those perfect pets over the Cooley Region Humane Society.
Meet Kaya. She's a 1-year-old lab mix. She is very social and is one silly girl. And here's Addie, a curious, gentle 2-year-old domestic short-haired cat that always wants to know what's going on. Meet Toby, a 3-year-old coon-hound mix. He's very handsome, energetic, and can't wait to meet you.
To find out more about adoption for these pets or others, contact the Cooley Region Humane Society at 781-4014.
What adorable pets. We're actually now going to get started on discussing Beetlejuice, which classic Tim Burton film, I think. It's Tim Burton, so it's got the creepy, the funny, just kind of a twisted overall plot. It also stars a young Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis, you got Winona Ryder, and also Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice, who is hilarious in this. So before I get too much into it, why don't we take a look at the trailer?
Are ghosts.
What's the good of being a ghost if you can't frighten people away?
Their house is being haunted by the living.
Maybe the house could use a little remodeling.
And they can't scare them into leaving.
They're dead. It's a little late to be neurotic.
So they're calling on Beetlejuice,
Beetlejuice!
who's no ordinary ghost.
Yeah, you don't want his help.
Can you be scary?
What do you think of this?
Now, the party's over.
You want somebody out of the house? I want to get somebody out of your house.
But the fun has just begun.
It's showtime.
Learn to throw your voice, fool your friends, fun party.
Not bad.
This is amazing.
Want a cigarette?
Oh, no, thank you.
Oh, yeah, here I come, baby.
He's guaranteed to put some life
Attention, keyboard shoppers.
in your afterlife. Michael Keaton is Beetlejuice.
I'm the ghost with the most, babe.
It's just a classic film by Tim Burton, I think, The plot kind of goes, it starts out with Adam and Barbara, the couple played by Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis. They're going to town, coming back to their house. They get in a car accident where they end up dying. They come back to the house and realize, oh, they're dead. And it's kind of just them going through death and processing what it's going to be like in the afterlife now. While they're in this family moves into their house, the Dietzes, with their young daughter, who's played by Winona Ryder. She is able to see them as the ghosts and has discussions with them, and they ultimately become their family. Well, Adam and Barbara don't want them living there, so they're trying to haunt the Dietzes and get to have them move out of the house. They're having trouble with that, and they all of a sudden stumble onto Beetlejuice, who is kind of like an evil ghost and claims that he can get the humans to move out of the house. But when Beetlejuice is unleashed, all chaos breaks through the house. And, you know, it's just a really funny and hilarious Halloween film. What do you guys think?
Personally, like, I remember a lot of it. Where is it? It was really good. Like, it's a good movie. Like, it is classic Tim Burton. Like, you know, you've seen Nightmare Before Christmas, you've seen Corpse Bride, you kind of know how he operates. He has this weird style of mixing the creepy with the funny, with some of the downright terrifying, with some of the ghost designs that he put into the waiting room when they're waiting on the afterlife. They're just legitimately terrifying. Like, when you're a kid, that's stuff of nightmares. And like, the other thing I remember was, I don't know if you guys remember this at all, but there was a cartoon, Beetlejuice, on Fox Kids back in the day. And they toned it down, but it was pretty good.
All I remember from this movie is, I mean, even though I was really little when I first watched it, which, I mean, I wish my parents didn't show it to me because I had some nightmares. He kind of looks like the Joker, doesn't he, Beetlejuice?
A little bit.
Yeah. But with the waiting room scene where there was all these claymations of these ghosts and dead people, and it showed kind of how they died. I remember that really scared me. And to this day, like, watching it, I know it's not really good effects now, looking back on what we have and such, but it's really interesting. Like, the guy's like, "You want to smoke?" You know, and he just has this horrid face, and obviously he died of smoking of some sort. But I think it's really cool how he has that claymation mixed with, you know, real people and stuff like that.
Yeah, actually, kind of interesting is that you mentioned that Beetlejuice looks kind of like Joker, but then Michael Keaton later on, I think I don't remember if it was before or after, ended up playing Batman for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
In the live action movies.
It's kind of funny.
So yeah, that was just kind of an amusing thing I just thought of actually right now.
Also, another thing with this movie, it does have that dance and singing scene again, too. It always gets me every time, but it's just so funny. I mean, they're around the table and the Banana Boat song comes on and they're just being forced to dance around, making fools of themselves. I just find it to be hilarious.
Well, it kind of reminds me also of when you were little, you say Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, you know, into the mirror.
Yep. Yeah.
You're just like, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. But you're like, all right, well, that's not real because Beetlejuice isn't here. But
good thing you didn't say the third one.
I don't want them coming on to the show. That'd be bad.
That'd be very bad.
I don't want him here.
Yeah, Dr. T would flip.
Yeah, she wouldn't probably like that very much, huh?
Yeah, no, probably not. But actually, another thing that I thought was very interesting, I hadn't noticed until I watched the trailer. I forgot that the one house that he dances in front of in the afterlife, Dante's Inferno. I'm like, wait a minute. I read the Divine Comedy. I know what that's a reference to now. Wow. Good job, guys. That was pretty good.
Trying to sneak one past you there, I see.
Yep.
You like rewatch movies when you're an adult. When you watched it as a kid, you like pick up on all these like sexual innuendos or just like small things like that.
Yeah.
Books that you probably read in high school. And
just connecting everything together.
But I know a lot of movies, like Hocus Pocus had a lot of sexual innuendos, but we don't see it.
Right. I mean, there's a whole big thing where, like, the big prophecy that they come back to life is when a virgin lights the candle. And it's like,
I don't know what that is.
Huh. Yeah. So, all right. So we're going to take another break really fast. Take a look at those perfect pets once again because they really do need your help. So we'll be right back.
The most general definition of the term is a cloud of interstellar gas and dust. But it turns out that there are several different types. Emission nebula actually emit colored light. These nebula are neat because they are often birthing grounds for new stars. The opposite of an emission nebula is a planetary nebula. Here, stars are in the process of dying and are losing layer after layer of gas to the interstellar winds. Even more dramatic are supernova remnants. These are stars that didn't wait to die. They blew up. A nuclear reaction to the core of the star causes the whole thing to implode on itself. The gases get superheated and explode outward to create these stunning displays. Reflection nebula are a completely different story. These formations are made up of dust clouds that are fine enough to reflect starlight. Perhaps the most striking nebula are dark nebulas. Dark nebula are clouds of dust and rock and interstellar junk that block the light behind them. The heavens are filled with entrancing images like these. We've only begun to scratch the surface of what else is out there amongst the stars.
And my favorite movie, if you guys are wondering, of Halloween season is Young Frankenstein, directed by Mel Brooks. And what's it about? Well, I'll tell you. Well, when the will of Victor Frankenstein, which is the famous Frankenstein that we all know that made the monster, attempted to reanimate dead bodies is opened, his grandson, Frederick, who becomes a skilled neurosurgeon and teacher, and he's cut most of his ties with his family name due to his grandfather's experiments, is given the castle where all the experiments were made. Upon his arrival, Frederick finds and reads through his grandfather's book about the theories and experiments and discovers that they might in fact work. He wasn't really that crazy after all. Assisted by Igor, the grandson of Igor, who has assisted Victor Frankenstein, and Inga, an attractive lab assistant, he successfully reanimates a body which soon escapes and creates havoc. But before I give too much away, let's take a look at the trailer.
It's coming from the deep, dark recesses of the mind of Mel Brooks. I love him. Young Frankenstein.
Sky means business.
Young Frankenstein.
Oh dear, nothing left. What shall we throw in now?
Starring Gene Wilder as Dr. Frankenstein.
That's Frankenstein.
But what about your grandfather's work, sir?
My grandfather's work was doo-doo!
Peter Boyle as the monster. Marty Feldman as Igor.
My grandfather used to work for your grandfather.
I'm sure we'll get along splendidly. Oh, sorry.
Cloris Leachman as Frau Blucher.
You played that music in the middle of the night?
Yes!
To get us into the laboratory?
Yes!
And it was you who left my grandfather's book out for me to find?
Yes!
So that I would?
Yes!
Then you and Victor were...
Say it. He was my boyfriend!
Cary Garr as Inga.
Would you like to have a roll in the hay? Roll in the hay.
Kenneth Mars as the inspector. And Madeline Kahn as Elizabeth.
Where am I? Calm down. What are you going to do to me? I'm not afraid of you. Listen, I have to be back by 11:30. I'm expecting a very important call.
Kill the monster! Storm their castle! And spread lights!
See Mel Brooks' Young Frankenstein.
Yes, I think we could all use a good laugh.
But don't see it alone. Don't miss Young Frankenstein, personally directed by Mel Blazing Saddles Brooks.
If you guys are wondering, this movie actually isn't supposed to be scary, but the trailer was meant to look scary like the Frankenstein movie from 1931. They used the sliding effects that they used back in the day, how it was black and white. Even the score of the movie was by the same score of the first original movie, Frankenstein. So the reason why it's my favorite Halloween movie is because Mel Brooks is my favorite. It mixes horror with comedy, and in fact it was number 28 on the list of the 50 greatest comedy films of all times you can watch. And I mean, it takes a bunch of the Frankenstein characteristics. In fact, it uses all the props from the original Frankenstein movie in the movie, which is pretty cool, but Mel Brooks had to pay a lot of money for that. But they have lots of small jokes in there, and my favorite joke, I have to say, is when Igor is getting the brain for the monster. He's like, "What kind of brain did you get?" And he goes, the person's name was Abby, and they're like, oh, okay, well, what was the last name? And he's like, Normal. Abby Normal. Yes, that was the brain's name. So they just have small little jokes like that that really get you, and it's a lot of adult humor, but kids can watch it because there's not any like really, really scary scenes, and I don't know, I personally really like it. What about you guys?
Yeah, I loved it. Like, I am a huge fan of Mel Brooks movies in general, so it all kind of works out that way. I mean, I watched Spaceballs back in the day. Robin Hood Men in Tights has always been one of my top comedies. So Young Frankenstein definitely, or Frankenstein, sorry.
Frankenstein.
Was always kind of an interesting movie to watch. And I just kind of like how like Gene Wilder gets into it. Like he's a fantastic actor. I do love Gene Wilder. I mean, you know, he was in Blazing Saddles. He was in this. He's the older version of
Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, not the new one with Johnny Depp. And there's just a lot of really good humor in there. I mean, it's very clever with its humor. It's not just some physical, like it's physical humor. It's got wordplay. It has some adult humor in it, but it's downplayed in comparison to a lot of other things that are out these days. Personally, and it just makes it for a really clever and funny movie. So.
Yeah, exactly. Just going off what you said, I mean, you've got the great cast, Gene Wilder, Cloris Leachman, who's gone do some pretty good things, and Mel Brooks. He is just great at what he does. I mean, like you said, Robin Hood, one of my favorite comedies probably too. It's just overall a really good, funny movie.
I really enjoyed how they used the monster as being Peter Boyle, which we all know from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yep, that was Frank.
When I was younger, you know, I didn't really think of him as the monster. I mean, when I saw him, he actually has to wear shoes with big wooden plates on it because he's so short, and you know he's supposed to be like 6'3" in the movie. So they have like a behind-the-scenes video on YouTube I watched a couple of times, but his shoe is literally like this much off the ground, and he's like, "Rrr." So I just see him as Frank all the time.
Yeah.
It's weird seeing him in the monster.
Yeah, it kind of is. And I mean, like, one of the things that I found was actually really interesting was that originally, I think the woman who played, was that Cloris Leachman that played Frau Blucher?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Originally, she thought that Frau Blucher was supposed to be like glue, so that's why the horse would always whinnies, because the horse was so scared about getting turned into glue. But apparently, saying Frau Blucher is just like saying Mrs. Jones, so it's basically just saying that the horse is just that scared of her because she's so terrifying. Mm-hmm. So no, those are all some pretty good Halloween movies. Let's see, what else do we think of when we think of Halloween movies?
Another movie actually though that's coming out recent, or is going to be coming out soon, is the new version of Carrie, which I think will be fun. I mean, you got Julianne Moore, was it Chloe Moretz?
Yeah, she was Hit Girl in Kick-Ass, wasn't she?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's.
So I think that'll be a fun remake.
Yeah, when I saw the trailer, I mean, I've never heard of that. What was it, a novel or?
It was like it was a novel by Stephen King. It was a Stephen King novel.
I never saw that, but I would see the trailer and I thought of it as like a superhero movie because she was moving things, and I was like, yeah, this girl's gonna be the next superhero. But then all of a sudden, the trailer went for the worse, and she's scary. Yeah, I did not expect that.
Yeah, no, it's genuinely, it's a terrifying story, and it's actually kind of sad when you read it, when you find out about what Carrie's like and what her life is like during that, and then that whole thing happens. I'm not gonna give that away because it's actually a pretty good book. Yeah. Also, another thing that most of us watch during Halloween, Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
I mean,
who can't not watch that movie? I mean. That movie's so good. I remember, like, and I try it all the time, and I thought, like, the movie was just being mean, like, there's no such thing as witchcraft. And my parents wouldn't let me watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch because they thought it would be, like, a Wiccan or something. And I would, like, secretly watch Harry Potter when it first came out. And, like,
that sounds like that was
practice my spells, like, Legaria Leviosa.
Yeah, that was a friend of mine, too, that for some reason her parents were really worried that she was going to get like going to Satanism or something when she watched Harry Potter. I'm like, no, these are just genuinely good books. and they're great movies.
Did you guys read the books at all?
Oh yeah, I've read all
all
books.
of them.
Huge fan.
Oh, I guess I'm not that big of a fan.
I'm a Potterhead, as
Yeah.
some call them probably.
Yeah.
I'm just a straight muggle.
Yeah, I know. I have a Gryffindor shirt in my room that I wear on occasion. So
I have a
proud
muggle
Gryffindor.
sweatshirt, I guess that fits because I don't read the books.
Dumbledore's army shirt with all the Dumbledore army on it.
Oh my gosh.
And they signed it.
Oh,
Great
that's
shirt.
awesome.
lucky you.
God. Let's see. Oh, another one that most people think of with the Halloween stuff is another Stephen King one. I'm sorry, he just kind of comes to mind when you think of really actually genuinely scary stuff. It.
Ooh.
With Tim Curry. It was a miniseries. Yeah, Tim Curry. Yes, Tim Curry played the clown. And looking back on it, it wasn't as scary as it used to be when you're like 5 and watching this, it's terrifying. I had nightmares for like a week, and I could stand clowns until I was like 12 because I was scared that something like that would happen to me.
Well, I cannot deal with dolls. Like, if there's a glass doll or anything like that, I'll freak out. Because I remember Goosebumps, there was this dummy movie. And I hated that. Or Chucky. I can't watch that. I had dolls in that little, like, net thing you would have in your bedroom.
Yeah.
And it would, like, slowly at night, the wind would move my net around. And it would close its eyes and then come back up, like, I'm going to kill you.
God.
That's awful.
That's awful.
Yeah, it was creepy. I didn't like that.
Oh, man. That's awful.
Another movie that I have seen this summer, though, that came out, The Conjuring.
Ooh.
Really creepy, and it does have a doll in it.
Yeah, I don't like that.
It's super creepy, and like I've done research on this because it's based off like a true thing, and these people, like the psychics or whatever, have done a lot of research on this. But the doll Annabelle that you see in it is a real doll, except she's more like a Raggedy Ann doll, where in the movie she's like that glass, kind of like cracked, all gross.
That makes you wonder, like, if you're really gonna go out and buy that now, is it gonna have more sale, or are they gonna like return them?
That's a good question. All right, so let's take a look at what is going to be playing in theaters. We've got Captain Phillips, which I haven't ever really heard of.
That's the one with Tom Hanks. It's about the pirates who go aboard the ship.
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2. I remember reading the original book when I was younger too.
Yeah, same here.
So that'll be interesting, guys. I know it was they changed a lot of it in the original, between the movie and the book. So I don't know. Gravity was, I heard, was surprisingly good.
It's very, very good.
On DVD right now, The Hangover Part 3. I thought that one was pretty hilarious. Also, This Is the End too. Another really funny movie.
Yeah, where it's basically the actors playing themselves as actors and just going crazy. It's hilarious. There's just the one thing I remember from it is Emma Watson coming in and punching the guys. I'm just like,
she comes in with her axe.
And then we have After Earth and The Croods, which is about a bunch of cavemen and stuff like that.
And After Earth had both Jaden and Will Smith in it, if I remember right. So
that must be so weird working with your dad all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so at the Riv, we have Despicable Me 2, which I heard was pretty good. I haven't seen it yet, unfortunately, although I do love Steve Carell. He's a fantastic actor and very good voice acting.
We also have Taxi Driver, which is a special feature there that has Robert De Niro in it.
Oh yeah, the original Taxi Driver.
Oh, and we got Planes and Blue Jasmine, but I haven't heard of Blue Jasmine. Have you guys heard
I
of it?
haven't
not
either.
heard of it.
I say Planes I know is like supposed to be like the spin-off or sequel to Cars.
Cars,
yeah. With planes, obviously.
And planes instead of cars, yeah. But you know what though? One thing I did not see on that list that's coming out on DVD that is one of my favorite movies this entire summer, Pacific Rim.
Yeah, that's really I
movie.
really like that.
So, all right, looks like we are out of time. That is it for this week's screening room. Just go out and check out some great movies. Go buy Pacific Rim. It is awesome. So maybe you guys have anything else to say?
Watch the movies that we suggested. Overall, they're great Halloween movies.
Yeah.
It's a good movie to get, a girl and just cuddle up with when she's really scared and grab some popcorn.
See you guys next week.